sing, and let nature sing, and let nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ. if you couldn't tell so far from looking in the front, we have over here a mountain, and on this side a manger. And the distance between those two is part of what we'll be discussing tonight, and that's what some of our Bible readings will include. So this first Bible reading we have is about the mountain, and it doesn't start at Jesus' birth, but long before. Because God has always been wanting to come close to his people. So we see one of the times where God tried to come close on a mountain and their response. So, if my brother would come forward and do, are you reading number 1? Yeah, slide 2.
So reading from Exodus chapter 19, verse 3 to 19. The Lord called to Moses from the mountain and said, "Give these instructions to the family of Israel. You know how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among all the people on earth, and you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation." So Moses returned from the mountain and called together the elders of the people and told them everything the Lord had commanded him. And all the people responded together, "We will do everything the Lord has commanded." So Moses brought the people's answer back to the Lord. Then the Lord told Moses, "Go down and prepare the people for my arrival. Consecrate them today and tomorrow. Be sure they are ready on the third day. For on that day, the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai as all the people watch. Warn the people, be careful. Do not go up on the mountain or even touch its boundaries. However, when the ram's horn sounds a long blast, then the people may go up on the mountain." On the morning of the third day, thunder roared and lightning flashed, and a dense cloud came down on the mountain. There was a long, loud blast from a ram's horn, and all the people trembled. Moses led them out from the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. All of Mount Sinai was covered with smoke, because the Lord had descended on it in the form of fire. When the people heard the thunder and the loud blast of the ram's horn, and when they saw the flashes of lightning and the smoke billowing from the mountain, they stood at a distance, trembling with fear. And they said to Moses, "You speak to us and we will listen, but don't let God speak directly to us or we will die." As the people stood in the distance, Moses approached the dark cloud where God was.
So God wanted his people to come up on a mountain to him. He said, when you hear the horn, you can come up the mountain. But when that happened, they were so afraid that they didn't. They stayed at a distance, we're told. But tonight, hopefully you will come and adore God with us. Instead of staying away, staying at a distance because of fear, I hope that you'll be willing to come close to him. So if you would, please stand with us as we sing, "Oh Come, Let Us Adore."
Let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord. Oh, come.
Virgin Mary had a baby boy. The Virgin Mary had a baby boy. The Virgin Mary had a baby boy, and they said that his name was Jesus. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. Oh yes, believers. Oh yes, believers. He comes from the glorious kingdom. The angels sang when the baby was born. The angels sang when the baby was born. The angels sang when the baby was born, and they said that his name was Jesus. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. Oh yes, believers. Oh yes, believers. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. The wise men saw where the baby was born. The wise men saw where the baby was born. The wise men saw where the baby was born, and they said that his name was Jesus. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. Oh yes, believers. Oh yes, believers. He comes from the glory. He comes from the glorious kingdom. 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 Feel free to have a seat for the moment as we have our second Bible reading taken from Luke chapter 2. So, after God tried to come on a mountain, this time he came in a manger.
Yeah, reading from Luke 2, 4-20. Joseph was a descendant of King David. He traveled to Bethlehem from the village of Nazareth. He took with him Mary, to whom he was engaged, whom he was now expecting a child. And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. She gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger. That night, there were shepherds staying in the fields nearby, guarding their flocks of sheep. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terrified, but the angel reassured them. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I bring you good news that will bring great joy to all people. The Savior, yes, the Messiah, the Lord, has been born today in Bethlehem, the city of David. And you will recognize him by a sign. You will find a baby wrapped snugly in strips of cloth, lying in a manger." Suddenly the angel was joined by a vast host of others, the armies of heaven, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and peace on earth to those with whom God is pleased." When the angels had returned to heaven, the shepherds said to each other, "Let's go to Bethlehem. Let's see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." They hurried to the village and found Mary and Joseph. And there was the baby, lying in a manger. After seeing him, the shepherds told everyone what had happened and what the angel had said to them about this child. All who heard the shepherd's story were astonished, but Mary kept all these things in her heart and thought about them often. The shepherds went back to their flocks, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen.
So you can tell this is a candlelight service. It has candles with real fire. Please, children, stay away from the real fire. However, in the back on that side, there are also some candles that are battery operated. And if any of the kids want to have one of those candles, you can go grab one of those and hold on to those as we sing. And you can even take it home later with you when you go home. Please stand with us as we sing. In the city of Bethlehem, a son was born into the world of men, a gift of heaven wrapped in skin. The shepherds spread the news of the newborn King. In their mouths, and there was hope, for God and man came closer. So tell the people of the city, tell them all, that God and man came closer to us. The city, we remember the precious gift and the gracious giver, the words of peace and goodwill to all. The humble spread the news of the servant. Miles, and there was hope. God and man came closer. So tell the Please feel free to have a seat. The next reading that we have is not a Bible reading, but it is taken from a monologue that is one of my favorite things to read around Christmas time. It's called An Advent Monologue by Walt Wangerin Jr. And he uses this picture of humanity as a young woman that God is wanting to show love to, but she is isolating herself and she's in fear. And so as you hear this monologue, hopefully that will help you to see this, that young woman is meant to be us and the ways that God is wanting to come and reach us and what his strategy becomes. So, see if you would come, please read it.
I love a child, but she is afraid of me. I want to help this child, so terribly in need of help. She is lonely all the day long. She sits in a chair with her back to the door, her knees tucked tight against her breasts, her arms around these, her head down, and I can see how her hair hangs to her ankles, but I cannot see her face. She's hiding. I love the child, but she is afraid of me. And how can I come to her, to feed her, and to heal her by my love? Knock on the door? Enter the common way? No. She holds her breath at a gentle tap, pretending that she's not home. She feels unworthy of polite society. And should I break down the door? Or should I show my face at the window? Oh, what tears I'd cause then. She would not receive my love, but might likely die of a failed heart. She is her own deepest hiding place, and fear and death are the truest doors against me. Then what is left? How can I come to my beloved? Where's the entrance that will not frighten nor kill her? By what door can love arrive after all, truly to nurture her, to take the loneliness away, to make her beautiful, as lovely as my moon at night, my sun come morning? I know what I'll do. I'll make the woman herself my door, and by her body enter her life. I'll be the baby waking in her womb. She'll have the time this way to know my coming first before I come. When she hangs her head, she shall be looking at me, thinking of me, loving me, while I gather in the deepest place of her being. I am her Lord who loves this woman, and for a while I'll let her mother me, but then I'll grow, and I'll take her too into my arms. I'll bear my mother, my child, alive forever. She will not fear me for long now. Look, it's almost happening. I'm doing a new thing, and don't you perceive it? I'm coming among you, a baby, and my name shall be Emmanuel.
Fear is a powerful thing. It keeps people held and bound and away from life and away from God so very often. And the readings that we've had tonight, I hope, have shown how God has tried to overcome our fears by coming to us in the easiest way, and yet in a difficult way. In the Bible reading from the story on the mountain, God tells Moses, he tells this man who was a shepherd, that he wants the people to be able to come up to the mountain to him. And so when there's the sound of this horn, that they can come up. But the people become so afraid by the smoke and the thunder and the lightning. And so they're not really willing to meet God even halfway. When he comes down to the top of a mountain, they're not willing to walk up to him. So much later on in our story, when we get to our second reading, instead of this time God coming in a way that has smoke and lightning and thunder, he decides to come as a baby. Because who's afraid of what a baby's gonna do to them and attacking them? And so instead of showing himself strong on a mountain with a loud booming voice, he has the loud cries of a baby. He comes as vulnerable so that we can start to get used to him. But then one day he grew up to be a man that truly did save the world from their sins, as angels were telling people about on those nights. And so from the mountain, he came to a manger. Tonight, I don't know what your feelings are. I don't know if you think you're a fearful person or not. I know sometimes I am. And one of the things that has stuck out to me as I continue to read the stories about Jesus' birth was I was wondering, well, what is the message that heaven is trying to get across? And when angels show up in the story, an angel speaks to the baby's mother, Mary. An angel speaks to the baby's sort of adopted father, Joseph. An angel speaks to shepherds who are on a hillside. One of the first things he says every time is, do not be afraid. And so tonight, maybe if there's nothing else that you go away with, I hope that you know that as God comes toward us, an important message he wants to give you is don't be afraid of him and what he wants to do. So I have a song you don't have to sing along or stand up with, but it's a song based on this, based on the words of the angels and the things that happened that night, to not be afraid, because Jesus has come as Emmanuel, God with us. And hopefully we'll be like the shepherds that keep going to Jesus. Instead of staying at a distance, they run to see what they've been told.
You had hopes and fears, and you waited many years. Oh, God heard each word that you prayed, so do not be afraid. No, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. God is with us. Do not be afraid. Favored ones, he's come as a babe. His name is Jesus. Do not be afraid. Heaven's given its son. God speaking through stars and signs, through angels and dreams and the wise. The prophecies point to this night. God hasn't forgotten our cries. No, we are not far from his mind. Do not be afraid. God is with us. Do not be afraid. His favored ones, he's come as a baby. His name is Jesus. Do not be afraid, heaven's given its son. Be to us as you said, let your will be done on earth as in heaven. Let it be to us as you said, as you reign in your kingdom that will never end. Let it be to us as you said, let your will be done on earth as in heaven. Let it be to us as you said, as you reign in your kingdom that will never end. Do not be afraid. God is with us. We won't be afraid. He's favored us, he's come as a baby. His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus. We will not be afraid. Heaven's given its son.
give us some time to pray. And it can be about really whatever is on your heart. Just anyone who's in the crowd that wants to pray something short, we can have several people pray. Maybe it's praying for people back home, wherever that is. Maybe that's praying to release your fear. But we'll take just a few minutes so that we can all pray together. And anyone who feels like praying out loud, feel free to do so.
Father, thank you for sending Jesus. Thank you, Lord, that you sent him from your glorious kingdom. Thank you for the joy that you bring us at Christmas and the joy you bring into our lives because we know you and we love you. Lord, we just pray for the circle of believers all around the world right now that are celebrating Christmas. We pray for this joy to be in all of us, Lord. We pray for those that are not with us tonight, Father, that are in other places, Lord. Help them to feel the joy of Christmas, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that we are part of a family that is all around the world that celebrates you and worships you.
In Jesus' name, amen. Shall we celebrate a little bit? If you would stand with us. Yeah. 2 more songs to celebrate that Jesus has been born. For those of you who were with us on Sunday that joined in with dancing to the song that we didn't have any of the lyrics for, but we have the lyrics today, and if you want to dance, you're still very welcome. Born unto us this day a Savior, gifted from heaven to a manger. Hope of the world, a light for all mankind.
rejoice. It's Christmas time. Lift up your voice and sing out His praise. It's Christmas, born is the King, rejoice in the day. It's Christmas, make a joyful sound. Let His praise resound. It's Christmas. Goodwill to all the earth and peace divine. For all of the earth rejoice. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. So lift up your voice and sing out His praise. It's Christmas, born is the King, rejoice in the day. It's Christmas, make a joyful sound. It's Christmas, let His praise resound. It's Christmas, so lift up your voice and sing out His praise. It's Christmas, born is the King, rejoice in the day. It's Christmas, make a joyful sound. It's Christmas, let His praise resound. It's Christmas, lift up your voice and sing out His praise. It's Christmas, born is the King, rejoice in the day. It's Christmas, make a joyful sound. It's Christmas, let His praise resound. It's Christmas.
And good news is meant to be shared. So, may you go tell it in the streets, you go tell it in the rivers and the valleys, on the mountains, everywhere.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, Christ was born, and God sent us salvation, that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept their watching o'er silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountains, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed the Savior's birth. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.